You're weak. I'm you.
With Liv Luminance finally ascending into relevancy soon, I've decided now's the perfect time to finally cover her with her upcoming Leap Ascension. And if you don't want to miss future PGR guides and videos, don't forget to subscribe. I also stream on my Twitch at twitch.tv/SpiderTV, and if I'm making corrections or forget to mention something, it'll be a pinned comment down below. Alright, let's get into it.
こちら 2B 問題ない
Liv Luminance is a base S rank support Omniframe that deals physical damage and provides physical and critical buffs as well as healing for your team. And in this video, I'll cover her skills, leap upgrade, passives, ascensions, playstyle, weapons, builds, team setup, and my pull and build recommendation. And as usual, I'll leave timestamps so you want to jump to a specific topic. First, I'll quickly cover her regular abilities. Her basic attack fires ranged beams, with the last attack being a multi-hit dealing physical damage. Her QTE drops her in, healing and briefly shielding allies based on her attack stat, and her red orb drops a beam that deals physical damage while slowing and debuffing enemy damage bonus. This is also her swap and attack. Her blue orb drops a field, marking enemies for her core passive and pulling in enemies into the center, dealing physical damage. And her yellow orb increases the amount of hits per basic attack and the physical damage. The core passive is indicated by the charges at the bottom of the screen, and hitting enemies marked by the blue orb with basic attacks or yellow orbs has the chance of triggering the light penalty effect, dealing physical damage and adding a stack. Yellow orbs have a higher chance of triggering this effect, and triggering light penalty 5 times or using a 3 orb ping will heal allies based on her attack. And her ultimate deals physical damage around her by constantly triggering the light penalty and giving 75% damage reduction to those around her. Now for her leap upgrades, and since there's a lot of details, I'll add a simplified TLDR at the end. Starting with her QTE leap upgrade, at base, the QTE heals for 20% more, and it applies a 10% physical damage buff for a brief period. At level 9, the QTE procs light penalty once, and at level 18, Liv basically gets some ultimate energy after using a QTE, and if Liv is double S, her physical damage bonus is increased from 10% to 20%. As for her core passive leap upgrade, at base, 3 orb and matrix pings will trigger an additional light penalty stack, and the 4th light penalty stack is empowered and will deal 3 times the damage. At level 9, the chance for light penalty to trigger is increased to 50%, and targets healed by it will get a 10% physical damage bonus. And at level 18, the light penalty will increase crit damage by 20%, and each stack of light penalty will increase crit chance by 5%, and the empowered light penalty will give 25% crit chance, up to a total of 75% crit chance for the next swapped in character for 10 seconds. And since most characters have 25% crit at base, this buff can easily reach 100% crit chance. And if she's triple S, this level will allow you to ult at the start of the battle. And for her ultimate leap upgrade, at base, she gains light penalty stacks based on how many orbs pinged, and it also increases the damage of light penalty in the ultimate. At level 9, the ultimate pulls in enemies, and the empowered light penalty deals 10% more damage. And at level 18, Liv gains about half her ultimate energy on swap in, and she can swap out before her ultimate animation finishes. And at triple S plus, the extra damage bonus duration is increased, and the empowered light penalty damage is increased by 25%. So basically, what all this means is that you'll get a physical and crit damage bonus with Liv's QTE, and ulting while triggering 3 orb pings will give 100% crit chance for the next swapped in character. You'll want to max the leap upgrade for her core passive first for the critical rate buff, and then the QTE, and then finally the ultimate. Although you eventually want to max all of the leap upgrades anyways, since they're all very strong and necessary for her to function smoothly and support properly. Her leader passive increases the HP of the team by 15%, so you basically never set her as leader. And as for the Ascensions, at double S, she gains extra damage bonus when enemies are hit with her blue orb. At triple S, their core passive damage is increased, and at triple S plus, after ulting, she grants party members extra damage bonus for a brief period. Luminance is functional at S rank since her buffs are more tied to her leap upgrades rather than her rank, but that being said, her double S increases her physical damage buff, which is a nice upgrade if you can get her to it, and her triple S is the optimal rank since it allows you to ult instantly at the start of battle, so you get the crit chance buff right at the start, but it will take some time to reach through BP or S rank selectors. And for the weapons, since you get a free 5-star weapon from the beginner login rewards, this weapon is definitely enough to be very competitive, and my Luminance still runs this weapon to this day. And actually the only reason you would even use any of the 6-star weapons is if you're a spender and plan to resonate it with Superconducting Axial Ray and Glorious Spear. The Dragon Wind passive is lackluster since it doesn't add any damage, and if you were unlucky enough to pull any of the 6-star levitation guns from the off-rank banner, it's probably better to resonate it for your amplifier, attacker, or tank instead. As for builds, for 5-star memories you can run 4-piece Ive and 2-piece Voltaire for DPS, or 4-piece Voltaire and 2-piece Richelieu for support. For her 6-star memory sets, she has 2 primary support builds depending on the game mode and rank. For extended game modes like Warzone or Norman, the traditional 4-piece Da Vinci and 2-piece Philip is the way to go, and you can just yoink that off of Liv Eclipse. For triple S or above, this is probably the only set you'll need. For game modes like Pain Cage, where Liv Luminance is under triple S, you can replace 2-piece Philip with 2-piece Caudy to replicate a triple S Luminance and be able to ult at the start of battle after using a couple of 3-orb pings. If another team member is already running Da Vinci, Liv can use 4-piece Hannah to speed up her ult rotation even further and get more 3-orb pings. You'll want to resonate plus 15 attack on the top slot and ultimate on the bottom slot, and fully resonating her for the free 3-orb ping helps her get her ult up much quicker and more consistently at the start of battle. And finally, if you don't have Alpha or Rosetta, you can use 4-piece Patton and 2-piece Darwin to make her an alright physical DPS. Liv Luminance basically replaces Liv Eclipse in the physical team and will be the staple physical support for a very long time. The current metaphysical team will consist of Rosetta with 4-piece Lee and 2-piece Catherine on the yellow slot, Alpha with 4-piece Frederick, 2-piece Darwin on the red slot, and Liv Luminance on 4-piece Da Vinci on the blue slot. And you want to set Alpha as leader here and Liv as starter. And this will be the main setup for most game modes like Babel, Norman, or Warzone, but you can adjust the positions or memory sets accordingly for certain pancake strategies. If you only have Alpha and Luminance, you can replace Rosetta with any of the physical tanks like Nanami Storm, Isle of Brilliance, or Call Me Bastion for now, running 4-piece Da Vinci, 2-piece Catherine on the blue slot, and then making them the starter. And then you can run Luminance on her 4-piece Hannah, 2-piece Caudy set on red. For bosses like Musashi or Alpha, where Rosetta will be the main damage dealer, you can run Liv Luminance with 4-piece Hannah, 2-piece Caudy on blue, Rosetta on 4-piece Lee, 2-piece Catherine or Darwin on yellow, and Call Me Bastion or Isle of Brilliance with 4-piece Da Vinci, 2-piece Lantern on red. And Rosetta will be the leader since she'll be doing the damage, with Call Me or Isla as the starter since you can afford to swap an attack with Luminance in this case. And if you only have Liv Luminance, you can run her as a DPS with 4-piece Patton or 4-piece Hannah with 2-piece Darwin on the red slot, along with Call Me or Isla with 4-piece Da Vinci and 2-piece Catherine on the blue slot, and a gap fill unit such as any amplifier, any physical attacker such as like Carolina Blast for grouping on the yellow slot. And here you can set Call Me, Isla as the leader and starter for the physical damage passive. But note that these positions aren't set in stone, so as always, it depends on the situation. Also, you usually run the Deer Pet on Liv since you always swap off her after 3-orb pings. That way you get the extra blue orb and damage on the swapped in DPS, which is especially helpful for Alpha in particular. As for her playstyle, if she's on-field DPS, just prioritize blue into yellow orbs. Otherwise, if she's a support, the color of the orb barely matters, just proc as many 3-orb or matrix pings as possible to get and use her ult. You usually start with Liv Luminance and burn as many 3-orb or matrix pings as possible to enter ultimate if you have triple S or the Caudy build. Stay in ult for a few seconds and then swap an attack into the main DPS, either Rosetta or Alpha depending on the situation, and they should have the 100% critical rate buff applied if Liv procced enough light penalties. Then swap to the secondary DPS if they're invested to cover the main DPS's orb downtime, and then swap back into Luminance, who should in theory have enough orbs to quickly trigger ultimate again to repeat this rotation. In Pain Cage, sometimes you may not even need to ult, as the QTE already adds a critical damage and physical damage buff to the active character, but just note that the critical chance buff is tied to her ultimate. But overall, Liv Luminance is ultimately a straightforward character, as she's mainly just an ult and then swap Da Vinci bomb. So, should you pull the builder? Well, I know that many players have already picked up Luminance through the free S-rank selectors or the beginner selector, so if you have her, definitely build her, because not having crit RNG alone due to her crit rate buff is a major increase in damage and consistency, and it's not even considering her physical damage bonuses. For those who don't have her, you may consider grabbing her in the next free S-rank selector in a few months when the physical team is finally more relevant, and if you buy the battle pass, you can get enough shards to unlock a copy from there as well. So due to these reasons, she's arguably a lower pull priority overall, but still a very strong pull. Overall, Luminance is essential to buff physical carries for both current and future physical teams. There's a lot to Luminance, so if there's any updates or corrections, I'll leave a pinned comment down below. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments or ask the community Discord at discord.io/AsianAutomata, and I'll try to respond if I'm not busy. Subscribe to the newest featured guides and videos, and if you find it informative, drop a like, a dislike if you didn't. I stream sometimes on my Twitch at twitch.tv/PirateToBe, so drop a follow to see when I go live. And yeah, this video was honestly long overdue, but I wanted to wait for Luminance to actually be a character before I covered her. Anyways, enjoy the sweet yellow crit numbers, but that's it from me. Thank you for watching, and peace light.